Have you ever wondered what single event caused the world to plunge into one of its most destructive conflicts? In the heart of the Balkans, on a sunny day in June 1914, a single gunshot echoed through the streets of Sarajevo. The victim was none other than Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary. This assassination, carried out by a Serbian nationalist, was the spark that ignited the tinderbox of political tensions and alliances that had been building across Europe. You see, the major nations of the time, including Austria-Hungary, Serbia, Germany, France, Russia, and the United Kingdom, were tangled in a web of treaties and agreements. The death of Ferdinand set off a chain reaction. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, triggering Russia to mobilize in defense of its Slavic brethren. Germany, allied with Austria-Hungary, declared war on Russia, and the dominoes continued to fall. And so, with a single bullet, the world was set on a path to war. Now, imagine a world divided, with battle lines drawn across multiple continents. In the throes of the Great War, two main fronts emerged as the primary theaters of conflict: the Western Front and the Eastern Front. The Western Front, essentially a deadlock, stretched across Belgium and France all the way to the Swiss border. This was a landscape dominated by trench warfare, a grueling and gruesome form of combat. Soldiers dug into the earth, creating intricate networks of trenches separated by a no-man's land. The war here was marked by a brutal stalemate, where neither the Allies nor the Central Powers could gain a decisive advantage. Then we have the Eastern Front, a stark contrast to its Western counterpart. Here, the war was characterized by movement, vast battles, and changing front lines. Despite its size and the significant forces deployed, the Eastern Front was marked by a lack of strategic depth and reserves, making it vulnerable to breakthroughs. It was a war of attrition, with the Central Powers gradually gaining the upper hand. These fronts were not just geographical demarcations. They influenced the course and strategies of the war. They dictated troop movements, resource allocation, and the development of new technologies and tactics. The fronts were the pulse of the war, reflecting its ebb and flow, its victories and losses, its moments of hope and despair. The fronts were more than just lines on a map. They were the stages of a global conflict. What happens when old war tactics meet new war technology? In the case of World War I, the answer is a profound transformation of the battlefield. This war was a time of many firsts, especially in the realm of technology and tactics. Imagine a time when warfare was dominated by cavalry charges and trench warfare. Then, almost overnight, these age-old tactics were challenged by the arrival of new, devastating technologies. Tanks, for instance, capable of traversing difficult terrain and breaking enemy lines, brought a new dimension to ground warfare. Machine guns, with their rapid-fire capabilities, turned the tide of many a battle. The introduction of poison gas added a terrifying and deadly element to the conflict. And let's not forget the airplanes, which took warfare to the skies, providing reconnaissance and bombing capabilities. These innovations not only changed the course of the war, but also set the stage for future conflicts. The war was a crucible of technological innovation, forever changing the face of conflict. How does a war that consumed the world finally come to an end, one might ask? The final act of this global drama started unfolding with the entrance of the United States into the war in April of 1917. Their fresh troops and resources tipped the scales in favor of the Allies. Meanwhile, in the East, the Russian Revolution was creating ripples. The Bolsheviks, new in power, sought peace to deal with their internal turmoil. The Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, signed in March 1918, marked Russia's exit from the war, freeing up Central Powers to focus on the Western Front. The relentless pressure began to crack the Central Powers. Bulgaria was the first to sign an armistice in September 1918, followed by the Ottoman Empire in October. Austria-Hungary followed suit in November. Finally, on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour, Germany signed the Armistice of Compiègne, marking the cessation of hostilities. The war was over, but its shadow lingered. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in June 1919, sought to establish a just and lasting peace. However, its punitive measures against Germany sowed seeds of resentment, setting a stage for future conflicts. The geopolitical map was redrawn. Empires crumbled, new nations emerged, and the League of Nations was born in the hope of preventing another such catastrophe. In the wake